Okay, you guys, before we get into the fungal clowns in the Last of Us TV series, the Mold Apocalypse number 8, we are going to talk about Maduro in iPad Go 2 from 2012. I'm going to take you through the process of what I found. This is insane, is all I could say. Now, we know from the past experience in decoding iPad Go 2 that there are nested meanings to some of this, and I don't know how they do this, how they were able to achieve this, these nested interpretations. But the only thing that I can pretty much chalk it up to is the way that God works is he also has nested interpretations and nested meanings within his word and his creation. We've already established that. And what I mean by that is that, for instance, the basic form of a tree is also the basic form of a human being. And there are nests in trees, right? And so the enemy is going to try to do the same thing. Nested interpretations, nothing new under the sun, repeating archetypes, I guess you could call them, repeating sets of circumstances and repeated decodes. Now, here's the first thing I saw when decoding this scene from iPad Go 2. Again, this is from 2012. I noticed this flower. Now, we'd mentioned this flower before because it isn't a lily. The lilies have far more petals than these flowers, and I think we mentioned that in a previous decode. And at the time, I didn't know what the flower was, but this was the first flower that I saw. And lo and behold, the flower, here's some close-up images of it, appears to be a flower that is native to Venezuela. In fact, it's only found in Venezuela. Let's read this. This is the flower here. Rare and exotic plants. It's overlooking the Caribbean Sea. The coastal mountains of Venezuela are home to many beautiful orchids, palms, bromeliads, and this rare gem, the pink princess flower. Unfortunately, the species is dwindling in numbers in Venezuela due to human development. It is an extremely rare in cultivation and almost never seen for sale. Now, you'll notice that these flowers have 4 petals, but they have a cousin that has 5 petals, just like in iPad Go 2, that is native also to Venezuela. Now, what else did we find? Well, the yellow liquid. And I didn't understand this before. I was like, what is that? Many of us thought this was toxic waste or something surrounding this character in iPad Go 2. Obviously, this is a Hispanic character. And in fact, Heliofant calls him Pepito, Juan Pepito. So we have confirmation that this is a South or Central American character here. But nobody could figure out what this yellow liquid was. And everyone thought it was toxic waste. Well, I hope you're ready for this one. Because this is what Venezuela's oil looks like. Yes, heavy crude oil is what this liquid is. We finally figured that out. The reason why it looks like this is because it is full of paraffin, which is a wax. The colors are almost identical. Now, let's read about this. Here's the article, Business Insider. Crude can be thick and waxy. Here's some oil from Utah. High proportion of paraffin, a type of hydrocarbon. It's paraffin wax, and this stuff's actually very valuable. They must separate this paraffin out of the oil before it looks like the oil that we normally see, oil and gas that we normally see. Here's a whole article on it, and here's where I got the picture that almost matches what we see in iPad Go 2. So, this is all starting to zero in on Maduro, isn't it? Now, others thought that this could have been the previous leader of Venezuela, and I think during those years when he was still alive, we made comparisons to him, but understand this is all nested, so it can be both. Obviously, the previous leader also had crude oil. Now, let's go to Hierophant's website, and here's the image of Juan Pepito. Remember, the flower came off of the cliff, which is exactly where these flowers exist. Let's play this through. I've got it in slow motion. The flowers of the cliffs of Venezuela. And so you see the flower rolling off of the cliff down into the heavy crude oil, sickle and hammer, which is socialism, communism, which is what the United States is accusing Maduro of. Now there's more to this, and there he's sinking. And Hierophant says that he has a sinking feeling. Let's take a look. Whoops. After years of economic exploitation and the environmental degradation, Juan Pepito has a decidedly sinking feeling. So, he's got this tattoo on his arm, which says Warita, and something else, Juan, Warita or Juanita, with 2 hearts on the forearm. And what else is going on? Well, so it's pretty much confirmed. Maduro sinks in his own heavy crude oil bath. Socialism, communism, sinking in the Western Hemisphere. This is exactly what Trump's going after. He's already named other communist socialist countries that he's going to go after next. Maybe this is why he didn't go after Mexico, because he's already got Mexico in his back pocket, and they are supposedly democratic and not socialist. So this is what this is all about. This is a play on power for the Western Hemisphere. Now, we'll get into the chipped tooth and the missing mustache. You're not even going to believe this. But before we do, let me check in with you and explain to you not to get this twisted. This is about globalism. And each of the kings are wrapping up any dissenters, any countries not in line with the hemisphere that they've been given control over by the devil himself. They're pulling it all under one banner to rule their kingdoms. That's what this is about. And all the kings are working together to do this. Now, the flow of oil to Russia and China hasn't changed or won't change now that we have control of Venezuela, or now that we think we have control of Venezuela, because there's a lot more going on with this. The vice president of Venezuela, she actually appears in iPad Go 2 as well. We'll get into that. The people being cut off are Iran and Cuba. And you have to ask yourself, just a couple days before all this went down, Bibi Netanyahu literally said that Venezuela was supplying oil to Iran. Lo and behold, we go in and take out Venezuela. Now, what about the chipped tooth? Let's take a look. What about the chipped tooth? Well, I hope you're sitting down for this one. Just days before all this went down, Maduro was singing and dancing and threatening to smash the teeth of the North American Empire. smash the teeth. And instead, his teeth got smashed. Now, how did they know this? Back in 2012. I have yet to figure that out. It's almost as if time isn't real or something. Now, when did he say this? This was in December 10th, is when Maduro said he would smash the teeth out of America, and instead his teeth become smashed. Well, Casey, that cannot be Maduro, because Maduro has a mustache, and this guy doesn't. Well, I hope you're sitting down for this one. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro pledged in late 2015 to shave his mustache if his government failed to build 1 million homes by December 31st, 2015. But he never followed through, as the goal wasn't met, leading to satirical commentary and Photoshop jokes about his whiskers, though he kept his mustache as a significant part of his public image. Welcome to the Matrix, you guys. A freshly shaven Maduro. Why else would they put a 5 o'clock shadow on him in iPad Code 2? Smashing the teeth out of America, except his teeth were smashed. How did they know? Now, just hours ago, Heliofant uploaded like 10 videos of a snowy landscape in Canada. Ice and snow. With literally no commentary, just minutes of observing the snow and ice. Weird. Now, let's keep going with this. So this scene, after he drowns in the crude oil, it cuts away to a Caracas. Caracas. There you see the ribs of a carcass. And tanks. And a girl with a flag of surrender. Which is exactly what's happening right now. Vice President is saying she wants peace. First she came out strong. Now she's saying she wants peace. She wants America and the world to recognize Venezuela's government as they drive through the Caracas. Interestingly, the inference here is Tiananmen Square, isn't it? Tanks rolling over people. And this actually happened in Venezuela, Caracas. Tanks literally drove over people in 2017 and 2019. Here's the iconic one. Drove over people, drove over protesters. How can this be? Now, if you feel bad for some of these protesters and things, the same way that George Soros pays for protesters in America, our CIA pays for protesters to overthrow governments all around the world. This is the playbook. We fund protests. We fund empty candidates to run against people that we don't like in power. And if there was any example, you could look at the woman that won the Peace Prize, was supposed to be the leader of Venezuela. After all this went down, Trump rejected her, but essentially she is a United States puppet. Now, I'm not saying you should run people over. What I'm telling you is, imagine if Russian paid protesters were in America trying to overthrow our elections. They would be dealt with pretty harshly, wouldn't they? Now, I'm not saying for sure that I know that these people are doing this, but imagine you're a president of a country and you know the United States wants you overthrown. You're going to be kind of paranoid, aren't you? Also understand that we, the United States, have starved, listen closely, the Venezuelan people. We are responsible because we cut off their ability to sell their oil legally on the high seas. We've sanctioned their oil tankers. They have to sneak around. Previous presidents kind of allowed it to happen, but Trump was like, nope, we're going to go ahead and cut everything off. And when you've cut off a country's number one export, the people are going to suffer. Now, yes, there's probably corruption going on, but this could be a wealthy nation if they were allowed to trade their oil freely. The problem is we, our government, don't want socialism and communism in our hemisphere. That's what this all boils down to. And if you really want to know the truth, we really don't care about that either. This is really about getting everybody in this hemisphere under one king. That's what this is really about. And they use the excuse of socialism, communism to advance the power. That's what this is really about. Now, let's keep looking here. The tanks roll in, so we get the repeat of what actually happened in Venezuela. And here's the girl with the tiger on her back, holding the white flag. Now, who this girl is remains to be seen. I can tell you that we had already discovered that New Year's, which is when this event happened, right? January 2nd, we had already established that in this scene because we were comparing Independence Day for the country that has this character as their archetype, Baron Samedi, Voodoo, Haiti. Their Independence Day is our New Year's Day. So we had already established this date in previous decodes. So it appears as though we were right within a day or two, right? January 2nd is when all this went down. They're in the Caracas. So who is this girl? Who is this girl with the green eyeshadow and the tiger on her back? Well, this is Delcy Rodriguez. She was just sworn in as the new president of Venezuela. And I did a simple search on this woman, Delcy Rodriguez. And as you can see, simple search. Look, Delcy Rodriguez. I didn't type in the word green. Many of the images of her, she's wearing this signature green. In older photos and newer photos. Here's an early picture of her and how she rose to power. Green t-shirt. Green. Green. Green, green. 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 Now, is this Delcy Rodriguez? I don't know. But this is weird, right? Weird. Now, let's double down on this tiger on her back. Ready for this? This is the logo for a team in Venezuela called Tigres de Aragua. Tigres de Aragua, which is the tiger. Sounds kind of like Tren de Agua, doesn't it? Wow. Tigres de Aragua. Well, let's take a look. There's the logo. And let's go back to the tiger on her back. Similar. Now, are you ready for this one? You know, this whole oil reserve thing and all this. The Orinoco Belt, the largest, heavy crude oil reserve in the world. Well, let's take a look, you guys. This is El Tigre in Venezuela, located in what is called the Gunipa Mesa. A river Tigre runs across the city. One nearby tourist destination is the Chimir Cliffs. El Tigre also is in full collaboration with the city of San Jose, Gunipa, blah, blah, blah. Let's get down to the meat of this. Since the appointment of the Orinoco Belt, the largest reserves of oil in the world, El Tigre has become one of the most important cities in Venezuela because it is very near or on the edge of this oil belt in Anzoátegua state. So, this city, El Tigre, will most definitely be front and center in the coming weeks as these companies pour into Venezuela. We will hear the city El Tigre because of how it's situated and where it's located. And if they're going to be rebuilding infrastructure, this city will be mentioned. Now, what's weird about this, it says here, in the 1930s, a large field of light crude oil was discovered near El Tigrito, which means tiger again, by the Mini Grande Oil Company, a subsidiary of Gulf Oil. The number one well, a wildcat well, cats, tigers, started in 1933 on February 23rd, 223, 322 backwards, Skull and Bones. Wow. I think that this is Maduro. So that's what I found in this scene of iPet Goat 2, the 2012 animated film that foreshadowed so many future events. I'm going to check in with you guys, and then we'll get into The Last of Us, Fungus Clowns. As we continue with the Mold Apocalypse series, we're on number 8. Let me get your thoughts on this before we get into this. What the heck did we just watch? Now, I don't know about the port wine stains on Delcy. I don't know if she has them. Every picture that I found, she had makeup on. I don't know if that's confirmed, but the green was crazy. Okay, I'm in the chat here for a minute. Yes, Angelina Jolie had the same exact tattoo in the exact place on her back. She also advocated on the global stage for Venezuela refugees. Good one. Yes, that's who we always thought that person was Angelina Jolie. That was the consensus to this point. But remember, it's all nested, so there's multiple meanings with this stuff. Green swamp flora fungi, says Joy. Yeah, I think it's heavy crude confirmed. It's the exact same color. That was something we couldn't figure out until now. Doritos has predicted this with flaming limen. The lime is Venezuela. The rest of the chip is South America and on fire. Thanks, Jason. The A-list finally made it to the live. Now, the paraben wax. That, we'll have to go down that rabbit hole. Let me write it out for myself. Paraffin wax. Paraffin wax. I'll do a deep dive on that after the show today. My ex was a Venezuelan ball player. Yes. MLB family was into drug trafficking. Oh, I forgot to show you that, by the way. Thank you for reminding me. Because, let's see here, where'd it go? Caracas Tigers mostly refers to the connection between players from Caracas, Venezuela, and the Detroit Tigers baseball team, especially Venezuelan stars like Miguel Cabrera and Gleyber Torres, who played for both. So, there are Venezuelan players on the Tigers. There's a little bit more confirmation. Wow. Good one. The love of many will wax cold. Thanks, Tonette. There's a paraffin wax connection. Baseball, Americans game played on the square and compass. The field is their symbol. Yes. Yes, you make candles with the paraffin wax. It's actually really valuable. Tiger in Swedish means keep mouth shut. Venezuela Orinoco oil belt also has the largest discovery of liquid natural gas, 300 billion barrels, larger than Canada and Saudi Arabia. Show us the pic of the cousin flower. Okay, let me show you that. Let's see here. Let's do this. Here it is, the purple princess flower Tibuchina. This one is the one that has the 5 flowers that exactly matches. Let's show you that. Here it is, large, showy, royal purple flowers, typically with 5 velvety petals and prominent stamens. Here's the picture. There is a pink variation of it. Let's see if we can find that. Or maybe they're just purple. Looks like they're purple. So here's one that's kind of pink. The Tibuchina. There you go. All right. You guys ready to get into this mold apocalypse? Let's get this started. Now, this is from The Last of Us. Let's take a look. Clowns and fungus. 15-minute city that has emerged called the Maraba, which to me sounds like murder. Abba, which means Abba, of course, is our Father in heaven. Now, curiously, there's a connection between the John Legend ad I'm going to show you, where he has a piano full of honeybees, and this Maraba 15-minute city. There's a connection. And that's because the two have a common author with a common goal, and that is the hive mind. But the first thing we're going to do today is get caught up on the most recent episode of The Last of Us. This will be a short recap on this recent episode. Watch this. This is crazy, you guys.
I want a magic horse with like a million lights. I don't know how it's supposed to get better. Is that a time machine?
Come on.
Now, following the theme of the hive mind that we just opened the show with, what you just saw was a carousel. Now, in the movie Zelle, remember that movie? It is right here. The mindless zombies were marching around a cell phone tower like a carousel. Watch. So, what's this about? Well, this closing credit soundtrack was You'll Never Walk Alone on a carousel. Here's the movie cover poster, song cover poster for Never Walk Alone, the song you just heard, which would later be used as an anthem for COVID. Of course, the Zelle movie came out long before COVID, so what were they really telling us here? Well, we're going to break all that down. Never walk alone. With the stinging umbrella. Because umbrellas are syringes, aren't they? Now, what is this about? Well, this is about a signal that controls the infected, allowing the demon portal to open. You just heard one of the girls here say, is that a time machine? How does the portal open? It starts with a shot, as you see on your screen. They enter the star shot. Star obviously is the fallen stars. Here's the rabbit with the sunglasses, because this is about fertility to the dark side. Rebirthing mankind. So, they're shot with the star and a signal. There has to be a signal as well, which causes this carousel, the zombie march in a circle around the signal. The girls go into the time machine, which is a photo booth, which is kind of like a phone booth. We've talked about phone booth portals. Well, phone booth and photo booth are one and the same. So they go into this, and this is like the cell signal, right? Because phones were the older version of cell phones. We talked about all about the components in a phone booth, the copper wiring, the copper core money. And remember Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, the electricity would shoot into the phone booth through the copper wiring and cause them to jump through portals of time. And all the other examples we have of phone booths as portals. Superman transforming inside of a portal. Phone booth. Doctor Who inside the portal phone booth. And on and on and on. So they take a shot of each other, right, in the camera. The film comes out. So they're both shot, which is the shot everybody got. And they come out altered. They come out changed. Let's watch this back again, just so you can get your bearings.
I want a magic horse with like a million lights. I don't know how it's supposed to get better.
Obviously a reference to 1,000 points of light.
Is that a time machine?
Come on. Come on. We got places to be, wonders to see.
Now let's go back to Zelle. Now Zelle is available for free on YouTube with ads, I guess. Let's back up here a little bit. There's something strange happened when we did this movie decode. Donald J. Trump's name, his initials appear backwards on the tree. He is the father of 5G and beyond, and the father of the injection. So it's no wonder that he appears in this old movie. Now, let's go back here. Whoa. And it's a tree portal. It's on the tree stump. Now, remember, the spiral is the portal. So now we're starting to narrow this down. How in the movie The Zelle, they're walking around the signal tower in a spiral, right? And then we saw the signal tower in, what was that? Oh, Archive 81 from yesterday. The radio signal tower with the T in the middle of the logo for the radio station in Archive 81 from yesterday. And we also found that these 5G frequencies cause the mycotoxins to release out of the mold and cause excess mold growth. And here's Donald J. Trump's initials on a tree in the movie The Zelle. What the heck? Keep watching here. Now, let's go back here to The Last of Us. They come out and they are converted into the hive mind. Watch this. They put on these masks, okay, because this is what this is about. It's the twin spirits. So, which spirit will you be twinned with? Not you, but the people who are asleep. There's the wolf spirit, and there's the killer clown from outer space spirit. Now, we decoded that movie a few years ago. I got the sound off because they're playing a soundtrack. I don't want to catch a copyright. YouTube's changed their algorithm. Something's weird now. Like, they're very, very sensitive. And this all just happened right after the Super Bowl. So I've caught a couple copyright notices. Yesterday's show included. So I'm trying to be very careful here. So there's a lot of pausing. So please don't get frustrated with that. She puts on the killer clown from outer space. And like I said, we decoded that movie several years ago. Now watch this. What is this about? This killer clown from outer space. Well, if you'll remember, the clowns pierced their victims with hypodermic straws. They then absorbed them into the hive. Let's take a look at this montage that we did from several years ago. Killer clowns from outer space. Now, I'll put a link to, I did a longer live show on killer clowns on this montage. I'll put a link to that because many of you will probably be interested in watching that. But let's look at just the montage for now. Watch.
State owned by Ron Forrester.
Oh, this is incredible. Looks like they got the whole town. Yellow. All right.
Notice the yellow and ultraviolet that we just covered on the show the other day. These are the complementary colors. It's kind of a pink, but also an ultraviolet. The bee stingers are the stripes. Okay?
Last one, Mike.
This is all about the Matrix body snatcher hive mind. They get converted into the hive. Now, we saw some striking similarities between Biden and Trump to the main two killer clowns featured in the killer clowns from outer space. Watch. This is obviously the Trump. There's the straw, which is a hypodermic needle. They drink, after they've turned these people into the hive, they drink their essence, the pink acrinodrome. Through the twisty straw, through the portal. "99 red balloons." That's the plague. There's the pineal reference there of this fish with the light in front of it. This is actually a real fish from the deep trenches. I think the Mariana Trench has this fish. There's also one in the Cayman Trench. And they're basically making fun of the eye as the lamp of the body. They want your lamp full of darkness, which is your pineal gland, not full of light. Jesus said your eye is clear or single. It's either full of light or full of darkness. And so these are obviously demonic looking fish. The angler fish. Demons from the pit. Unbelievable.
You will obey me. Let them go.
Let my people go. More mockery. Because the Most High said, let my people go. They hop into an ice cream truck. Here's Joe Biden. Don't worry. He's going to get his too. Because he's the other clown. They're both doing the same thing. And I find myself still debating people about who's good and who's bad. Trump spent us into inflation, gave 90% of that money to corporations, shut down small businesses, and allowed that to happen. Could have passed an executive order to keep the businesses open, couldn't he have? But instead, he gave a bunch of money, billions, almost trillions, to the pharmaceutical companies and the corporations. And he's the father of the poker. And yet still, people are in this right-left paradigm. Biden continued the same policies. Just slap a different label on it. It's the same label. Spend, spend, spend. Crush small businesses. And make pokers. They're both clowns. Now, the ice cream truck appears in the, also appears in Zelle, in the movie Zelle. They drive around in an ice cream truck. There's Biden. I believe this is a spirit that possesses these presidents.
Come on, Mike. Come on, Debbie. Come on, Rick. I'm trying. I'm in the right place. Rick.
There's his badge. Badges have needles. They stick you. More little clues. The copper cop. What does he do? He pops the clown's nose with another needle. The needle from his badge. Because that's what they want to do to you. They want to make you bad, like the badge. Poke you with the copper blue blood. Wish I was making all this up, but obviously I'm not. Here's the movie cover poster. The Choido brothers made this, apparently. And there they are. Obviously in the know. Choido means nail. Piercing. Unbelievable. Look at the most common surname in the world. 66611. It's the 66,611th most common surname in the world. That would be a mark. They're reproduced by planting GMO Monsanto popcorn.
Why popcorn? Because the clowns, that's why.
The popcorn comes alive. They sprinkle the popcorn to basically seed in destruction and death. They sprinkle it all around and the popcorn attacks people. It's got to be the GMO corn. There's your Hydra squid, which is the big top. That's a Hydra. At the tip of the needle, which is the umbrella. Can't get any more clear than that. All right, let's go back here because I saw that I missed something. This is crazy. Let's go back to this scene in The Last of Us. Because there's a pumpkin. Remember, Samhain is when the portal opens. This is why they're playing dress up. Must be Halloween. October 31st to the 5th of November is when the portal opens. It's the festival of Samhain. So that confirms this scene as well. Wow. Okay, I'm back in the chat, you guys. That was pretty much it. All I had for you today. I'm going to hang out with you guys in the chat for a bit, answer any questions that you might have for the last 5 minutes or so. Every single detail is accounted for. It's almost supernatural, isn't it? Yeah, even the colors mean things, don't they? When masks are adorned, the spirit of the mask enters you. Yes, and that is the ritual of dressing up for Halloween. That's what it's all about. It's the possession. It doesn't matter who you're dressing up as. You could be dressed up as a fairy or an angel or a cute animal. Why do you think they have the furries cult? A furries cult is about the twin spirits. It's about splitting off the personality through abuse. This is why abusers often, people that have been abused often will tell you that their abuser was in a costume and they don't know the true identity of their abuser. So, it's Epiphany Day, says Lisa. Oh, wow. Well, we've had several epiphanies today, haven't we? Yeah, the Maduro mustache was crazy, right? Yep, they made us wear masks during the pandemic. That was for a reason. Again, it's de-identifying you. It was a ritual. This is why they were so adamant about it. Mustaches must ache. Good one, Morgan. Yes, must ache. Okay. Yeah, Killer Clowns from Outer Space had a lot of disclosure in it. The ice cream trucks, I mean, it was insane. Now that they clean Venezuela gangs, it can now be under the control of the West. Exactly, right? Yeah, I saw that Heliofant posted all those videos. All right, you guys. Well, I think we're going to wrap the show up now. Tomorrow, we'll probably be back with some headlines and Mold Apocalypse number 9. I don't know what's next in the playlist, but that's what we'll get into tomorrow. I love each and every one of you. Have a great day, you guys. Take care.